We'll solve the quadratic equation x squared minus 11x minus 12 equals 0. So what we do first is look at the coefficient of the x squared term and the constant. Take these two terms and multiply them together. So that's a 1 times negative 12 equals negative 12. So now we look at negative 12 and think of all possible factors of negative 12 or all possible products that make negative 12. So you could go negative 6 times 2, 6 times negative 2, negative 4 times 3, 4 times negative 3, and let's see, negative 12 times 1, 12 times negative 1. So these are the different ways in which we can factor negative 12, but we are looking for a very specific product that will add up, where the numbers or the factors in the product add up to negative 11. So we have, let's see, the sum. So negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. 6 plus negative 2 is equal to 4. Negative 4 plus 3 equals negative 1. 4 plus negative 3 equals 1. Negative 12 plus 1 equals negative 11. So that's exactly what we need. So negative 11 is equal to negative 12 plus 1, and negative 12 times 1 is equal to negative 12, which is the product of the coefficient of x squared, which is 1, and the constant, which is negative 12. So now let's look at the equation. X squared minus 11x minus 12 equals 0. So now we're going to just split the middle term as the sum of the two factors, which is negative 12x plus 1x, which is x. If negative 12 and 1 add up to negative 11, negative 12x plus 1x will add up to negative 11x minus 12 equals 0. Now, if we've done this right, we should be able to factor this expression by grouping. And we group the first two terms and we group the next two terms. So that's how the factoring by grouping works. So let's look at the first two terms. The common factor is x. So when we have x squared, which is x times x, we factor out an x, we're left with an x. Factor out the x from 12x and we're left with a negative 12. Now we look at the next two terms, which is x minus 12. We need to factor out either a plus 1 or minus 1, because there is no other common factor between these two terms, but we need to make sure that we have x minus 12 as a factor. So the only factor that will work is plus 1. So we factor out a 1 and we're left with x minus 12 equals 0. So now we look at this expression, and the common factor between these two terms, so we're looking at common factors again, is x minus 12. So that's what we factor out. So we factor that expression out. We're left with, let's see, we're left with an x in the first term and a plus 1 in the second term. We write that down. That is an x plus 1. So now we've completely factored the expression, the given quadratic expression, and now we're ready to solve the equation x minus 12 times x plus 1 equals 0. We use the zero product rule, which basically says that if the product of two numbers is 0, at least one of the two numbers is equal to 0. So this is our first number, set it equal to 0. Our second number, set it equal to 0. And we get x equals 12 or, so comma, -1. And we've solved the quadratic equation by factoring.